It is trade deadline week in the National Hockey League at a 100% hockey with Millard and Shannon. Still get your juices going this time of the year?
No, not as much. I tell you what, I this is one of those weeks where I'm happy. I don't have to sit at a desk and bother all my friends to, are you making a trade? What are you doing? Give me a scoop. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. It's not fun. It's not fun. I don't know how, we both know the guys that do this for a living, whether it's Elliott or Daren Dreger or Pierre LeBrun, Frank Saravelli. I hated it. I hated doing it because...
You know what I hated? I hated sitting at the main desk with nothing going on and looking over at the newsbreakers and you guys all like eating sandwiches.
Can
you guys give us something?
I never ate a sandwich at the desk. Let's get that straight. I never ate a sandwich. I learned that a long time ago.
Kipper walking through the background.
Oh yeah. Well, that's different. Nick would walk through the background just to prove that he could eat a sandwich.
It is a unique day. Has it changed over the years, though, the presentation of it?
No, I don't think so. What's changed is the flow of information has changed. I mean, trade deadline or deadline day has always been there. It's always existed. But it's one of those times where in our world, particularly on the Canadian side of the border, there's no rights fees that take place. You don't have to say, well, we have this game versus you have that game. You can actually see competition between the two networks, and there was a time when there was 3 networks competing to do it. And so that was the part that got a lot of people's juices flowing in the broadcast community. That was the part. Are we going to compete against these guys? Are we going to do it better? It's become its own animal in so many ways, whether how TSN builds it and James Duthie's creativity with an opening, or everybody's staying at the hotel the night before because you have to be up early, and it's a fascinating animal unto itself. The big part that's changed now is that and people will say, well, there will be lots of trades. Sometimes there just aren't enough big trades to justify the day and justify the money. And by the way, everybody says, well, why do the networks do it and invest all this money? They would not do it if they're not making money on it. Mm-hmm. They're making money on it. And that's the key. It's become an important broadcast day, to the point where you do wonder with its value and importance, and it wouldn't happen this year, is if trade deadline day would come with no games. Should it come with no games on it? But with the
there's 2 days that shouldn't have games: Hockey Hall of Fame induction night and trade deadline.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. But certainly in this year's schedule, that's not going to happen with teams playing every second day for the next 45 days.
We've heard from the general managers, and we'll ask Jarmo Kekalainen today as well, but leading up to this, that it's been quiet, the chatter out there. Is there a team that you see as more desperate than another right now? Los Angeles makes the coaching change. Nashville is still in it. I don't see San Jose fitting that category. Washington, Columbus are on the outside looking in. Ottawa is chasing down a spot.
Edmonton. Since the Oilers have returned from the break, they've had 1 impressive game and 2, downers, and they need help somehow, some way. They need help. There is a real expectation in Edmonton with the window that Leon and Connor create to be a championship team. that they need to be better. They need to, create a gap between themselves and the LA Kings, create a gap between themselves and Anaheim, who right now are ahead of them. And with Vegas faltering a little bit, there's a chance to if you get on a heater to win the Pacific Division, and that would put you in a pretty good spot. But I see that Stan Bowman's got himself in a tough spot right now. I really do. Connor and Leon need some help. Their blue line needs some help. I think that if you look at any team in the league, I suspect that there needs to be something big happen there before Friday. I don't know what it is. They may not need another center. Do they? And everybody's going to yell, well, they need goaltending. I think that they've already made that trade, but they need to shore up their defense. Their defense needs to be better. It needs to be better.
I don't know whether they need to shore it up or the guys just need to play a lot better.
Well, listen, that's why Paul Coffey came back, was to help them fix that problem. But I think if you look at teams and opportunity and desperation, I would put the Edmonton Oilers at the top of that list.
Mm-hmm. I didn't mention Toronto on that list.
No, because I think Toronto's done. I think now, particularly after the weekend they had, and when I say weekend, there are 3 games, Tampa, Florida, Ottawa, all teams within their division, and they lose all 3. That's an issue. And so they're not going to make the playoffs in Toronto. I think there's and now, so on social media, Darren, I put out, and kind of tongue in cheek, what are we going to see first? Waffles, sweaters, bags. Because as a guy who's spent a lot of time here, did a lot of games at Maple Leaf Gardens, watched the Maple Leafs up and down, worked for the Maple Leafs for a while. This fan base can get rather prolific in the way it protests. And I had, for the first time in my recollection, a few people say, well, we don't care as much anymore. That's a real concern. Throwing sweaters, waffles, putting bags on your head means you still have passion and care. If you have apathy, you've got a real problem. And you do have to wonder where apathy fits in the Toronto market right now. Are they just throwing their heads up and with the success of the baseball team last year, are they just going to turn focus to the baseball team? And the basketball team's been better this year, better than I think people predicted. So they're going to turn their focus to the basketball team and just not worry about the Maple Leafs. Apathy is the biggest issue in professional sports. And you do have to ask the question, Toronto, how much apathy exists right now?
Okay, on the choices there, sweaters, waffles, and bags. Like, sweaters is the most expensive. That's the biggest message to the organization. Yeah. When somebody's throwing their $200 jersey on the ice, that is an insult.
Well, to me, it's like throwing the flag on the ice.
The waffles is the most creative.
Yeah,
the bag over the head actually has the most width. Like, you can get really good. Like, just throwing a bag over your head, like put some effort into it. You got to put some eyes in there, some eyebrows, some draw some facial expression on the bag. You can't just put a bag over your head. You got to put something into it.
So you're suggesting creatively, the bag is the most impressive thing.
Yeah, I think there's the.
By the way, we should make sure we say paper bag. Okay.
Yeah. The plastic bag's not good.
No,
I was thinking of remember that clip of Mario, one of his kids putting the bag over his head in the suite, and Mario reached over, going, "What are you doing?" Pulling it off. It was the cotton candy bag. But no, though, the paper bag, you got an opportunity to be on TV doing something pretty cool.
And nobody knows who you are. It's even
nobody
better,
knows
right?
who you are.
Yeah,
well, nobody knows who you are when you're throwing the sweater or the waffles on the ice either. You could say that, but the bag, there's some creativity.
I don't want people throwing things on the ice. I don't want people throwing. You don't throw stuff on the ice. Don't. but we've seen it in Toronto.
Well, waffles, I don't mind.
The irony of all ironies, and it kind of ties into talking to Jarmo today, is, the Maple Leafs have been on this run for a decade of playing well. At the same time, the Sabres have been brutal.
Yeah.
And now it's the reverse. Now, and it's the reverse really, really quickly. I mean,
in one year.
The Maple Leafs won the Atlantic Division last year. Mm-hmm. They won the division. Now they're not going to make the playoffs.
Imagine if Buffalo wins a round or two.
Oh no! It's why we're involved in the game, because the ups and downs are.
People from Buffalo will be driving up to Toronto to go to games next year instead of the other way around.
No. I don't think so. But trust me, the people in Buffalo will enjoy every moment of April and May.
Speaking of Buffalo, Jarmo Kekalainen has logged in. Will join the general manager of the Buffalo Sabres, appointed during this season, and it's been an incredible debut season with him at the helm. It's 100% Hockey with Millard and Shannon. Follow us on YouTube as well as wherever you get your podcasts. Watch it in video form or audio. We're here for you on 100% Hockey with Millard and Shannon.
NHL TV is now on DAZN. Hockey lives here.
Here we go.
Watch every game from every team. The best players in the world. And the coldest plays on ice. Watch up to 4 games at once for the ultimate NHL experience. Sign up now at DAZN.
One of the best stories of this National Hockey League is from this man and his hockey club. Jarmo Kekäläinen joins 100% Hockey with Millard and Shannon. What's it been like going from consultant to being in the hot chair?
A lot busier back in the hamster wheel, I call it. But it's been fun. It's been fun from the start. I think big part of the reason why I joined the Buffalo Sabres was the fact that there was a lot of talent. I was watching a lot of hockey last year when I was working, and it was fun watching the talent on the Buffalo Sabres. And when they contacted me, it was one of the very interesting opportunities that I recognized in the league, and that's a big part of why I joined, and it's been an interesting journey so far.
So actually, that was going to be my question. When you were not the manager of the Blue Jackets, how did you spend your time? Were you totally engrossed in the National Hockey League, making notes every night? How did that work?
Well, there was the Four Nations tournament. I worked for Team Finland, so I was scouting most of the year for that, and I was doing some self-educating, trying to broaden my views and study and read books and join an AI company that's working in the sports world to learn something new there. And so I was trying to do a lot of things and use that time to be a better version of myself if I got another opportunity. And I knew I wanted to work in hockey again in any capacity. I said to everybody that I talked to that I could be a first line center, but I can also be a grinder on the fourth line. I'm a team player, and I'm willing to do any role that I find challenging and something that interests me and has a chance to win the Stanley Cup.
Hold on. Self-educating in a new that you sound like you're too smart for hockey, Jarmo. No,
no, not at all. But you're never too old to learn. That's one of the philosophies that I try to carry through life, is that the day I stop trying to be a better in what I do and a better man, then that's the day that I'm going to retire.
Can you share more with us on the AI experience?
Well, it's just interesting the amount of data that we get all in the sports world and hockey world these days. There's even sitting in the GM chair, I always felt like we had these silos that there was data coming from the analytics, there was data coming from the performance world, and there was so much of it that how do you put all that together? And AI will help with that, where you get that one view on your computer where it just processes all the information and data that you get, and then gives you recommendations and real time alerts, and even forecast the future a little bit. And so I was sold right from the first meeting that I had with them that this is going to be the future, sort of like the smartphones changed everything that we do these days.
So, and the self-education, usually in our world, that speaks to leadership. Would that have been the rationale in the education?
Yeah. I've always been kind of searching different ways to get better in the job that I do, with whatever it has been, and there are a lot of smart people in the world that you can get new ideas from, whether it's through the books or podcasts or audiobooks, and so try to find something that I could use in the work, or being a dad of two girls, whatever it may be. I think there's always something interesting to learn by reading and searching information.
Have you had time to install some of that AI opportunity into you Buffalo Sabres?
We're working on it. So yeah, absolutely.
that just means there's more on Josh Flynn's plate. That's what that means.
Exactly. You got to hire smarter people than yourself, and he's certainly one of them. But yes, I 100% believe in that stuff. That's going to be the future, and the way we can process the data more efficiently.
All right, so your hockey team now is, I guess, since the first or second week of December, is the number one team in hockey. One simple question: why?
Well, I think that I mentioned it once already. I think there's a lot of talent and a lot of skill in this team, and the boys in the room have figured it out that that's not just enough. You have to compete, and you have to be disciplined, and you have to play as a team. And that starts from the players, starts in the locker room, starts from the leadership group by showing the example of playing winning hockey. Coaches can only pound it to your head so much, but the players have to buy it and really commit to it. And I think that's what's happened with this group now. And I know the messaging from coaches was right from the start that on those lines. But when you have that much skill, and you have the passion for the game, you're especially offensive players. They're always trying to score. They're always trying to use their skill, their instincts to score a goal. And sometimes when you're up by 2 goals, you don't need another goal. You just need to play disciplined and play smart and play winning hockey.
Was there one thing in particular that you wanted to install when you took over?
Excuse me. Well, I'm a big believer in competing and character being part of the talent evaluation. And that's one thing that I wanted to emphasize in my meeting with the team. The first meeting was that you're not going to get evaluated just by your skill and by your talent. What we traditionally talk about when we talk about talent, you're going to get evaluated by how you compete and what your character is for this team. And that was my main message, and I truly believe in that. It's when you look at the absolute best players in the world in hockey, they don't just have the talent and skill; they have the character, and they have the compete, and they have the heart and soul of the team, the way they play, and the way they show example, and the way they lead their teams. So that's what I've believed in right from the start of my career in hockey management, whether it was in scouting and evaluating, is that it's easy to see who can shoot the puck or make the moves and has the hands and can skate. But if you want to really find the winners, then you have to find what's inside the chest cavity and between the ears, and that's also the hardest part of player evaluation.
So how much dealing do you have to do on a daily basis with the roster, with the players? How much do you talk to them?
I mostly leave that up to the coaches. I like to have subtle meetings. I like to be around. I like to be in the lunchroom, maybe grab a coffee with the player on the road and have a talk. Sometimes there is a need to have that individual meeting if I see something that needs to be addressed right away. But mostly I leave it up to the coaches. I meet with the coaching staff every day and regularly and talk about players and my evaluation of them and what I see, who has chemistry, who doesn't, in my opinion, and then I'll leave it up to the coaches to make the decisions. But I like to have my finger on the pulse of the team and also on the individual level. So if I see something where I could give a word of encouragement to a player, I'll do that. I don't like to have players come to my office and make it real official, and it can be a little tense in that environment anyway. So I try to do that just kind of casually, maybe just passing them in the hallway, in the locker rooms, and making a comment. Or sometimes it's sitting down for a coffee and having a little chat. But yeah, I really want to see what the players like in everyday life, whether it's in the locker room, whether it's on the road, whether it's through their losing streak, or how they handle winning, and get the full picture of the personalities that we have in the room.
And how would you describe your relationship then with Lindy in this genre?
Oh, I think it's great. I didn't know Lindy very well personally. I had met him a couple of times in different meetings and stuff, and obviously heard a lot about him and his career, and watched it closely as I've been in the NHL for quite a long time now. But great personality, great sense of humor, hard worker. Really cares about the team and the individuals. A good person. So it's been really great to get to know him and have a lot of respect for him.
Will he coach there next year?
He's been at it for a long time. This is his last year of his contract, and we'll get to those talks when the right time comes.
What's the identity of the Buffalo Sabres right now?
The identity, I think that we have become a competitive team that sticks up for each other and can play hard, can play physical, but has a lot of skill. We play fast. I think that's a big part of our identity. We move our transition games is strong. We move the puck up the ice quickly. We have mobile, big, and skilled defensemen who can move the puck. And we have a lot of skill on the forward side as well. So I think we're pretty well rounded right now as far as understanding what winning hockey is all about. Can we get better at it? Absolutely. And we're still a young group. And I think the most exciting part about the Buffalo Sabres is that we have a lot of room for growth, and another level or two to grow just from within this group.
So how do you look at the great success you've had this year to the trade deadline and wanting to improve, but not wanting to fiddle with it?
Yeah, it's a tough one because there's the great chemistry in the room right now. And the guys really are playing for each other, enjoy playing with each other, and having a lot of fun. So you have to take that into consideration when you're considering different things. But at the same time, we're trying to figure out ways to get the team stronger. That's always the goal. Every day we come to the office, we have a chat about what do we need, where can we get better, and what are the areas that we need to improve on. So there's a fine line and a balance between those two, but that's where we're talking to the coaching staff on a regular basis as well.
So what do you think you need?
Well, I'm not going to really get into the analysis of our strengths and weaknesses on and what do we need, because that can be a little delicate sometimes. But I think that we have a lot of the elements that we could we can make the playoffs. I said that right from the start, but we can also make a run at it. So we're looking at these last few days here very carefully on what we need to do and what we're trying to accomplish, but we're definitely trying to make the team stronger.
From that perspective, is your phone ringing people offering, or would you be the proactive one in this week of discussions?
It has been pretty quiet, actually. I've made my calls to every team that we think that could be a fit and where we could have that could have something that we could maybe add. But a lot of teams know that we're not sellers, so maybe that's why it's a little quieter. But we'll see. That we have a few more days left. Excuse me.
A lot of people will look at the Buffalo Sabres history, and you haven't been around for most of it, and just say, get in. That's all they want. But you kind of alluded to, you think that there's more there in the Stanley Cup playoffs potentially for your hockey club.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody, if you ask any team in this league, is just content, like, let's get in and then call it a good season. We want to get in and we want to make a run at it. Everybody's in this league to try to win the Stanley Cup, and so are we. So, but first you have to make the playoffs to get into the big dance. So that has to be the goal in the middle of April that you have to accomplish, and then you can set your sights further than that. But I've said one thing right from the start here too, is that we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. We want to concentrate on today and what we can do today to be a better team, and that's where the focus needs to be.
Understand that, but would Saturday's victory in Tampa be a measuring stick for this hockey club?
Anytime you play one of the elite teams in the league, it's a good measuring stick, and Tampa's certainly one of them, and has been for a long time. And they play hard, they compete hard, and they have a lot of skill. So definitely one of the teams that measure where you're at with your team. And we're going to have them again on Sunday. I'm sure they'll be angry, and it'll be another test for our team. But one game at a time. There'll be an angry Vegas team coming here on Tuesday, and that's what we need to concentrate on right now.
Just getting started in our conversation with Jarmo Kekalainen, the general manager of the Buffalo Sabres, on 100% Hockey with Millard and Shannon. Back with more right after this.
Car shopping should be exciting, not exhausting. That's where Car Gurus comes in. They have advanced search tools, unbiased deal ratings, and price history, so you know a great deal when you see one. It's no wonder that Car Gurus is the #1 rated car shopping app in Canada. When you're car shopping on your phone, it shouldn't be a maze. You need to see all the information. With the Car Gurus app, you can. Powerful search tools that you see deal ratings, price history, and dealer reviews on listings all in one place. And you can turn on real-time price drop alerts so you never miss a great deal. Car Gurus connects you with trusted dealerships when you're ready, ensuring a transparent, hassle-free buying process. Buy your next car today at cargurus.ca. Make sure your deal is the best deal. That's cargurus.ca. cargurus.ca.
Alex Tuck, Jarmo, where are you in those conversations? Has there been any?
We've had a good communication with him. I was in the Olympics, so there was a little pause in it, and we'll get back at it here shortly. But we've said right from the start that he's an important player for us, and we want to get him signed, and he could be a big part of our future here. He's one of the most experienced players on the team and has been here for a long time. And as I also said, we have a young team, so we need some of those veteran leaders to show the way. And he plays big minutes, big role, power play, penalty killing, all those things. So he's an important piece that we want to get signed.
And he's for all intents and purposes, a local kid. So to have a local kid want to play for the hockey club, I think that's probably important for a lot of people, don't you think?
Yeah. And it's important to us, and it's important to him, hopefully, and it's important for the fan base. So I think we all have a common goal here.
And on that point, what have you learned about Buffalo as a hockey market and a fan base?
Oh, I've learned a lot. It's a passionate hockey fan base for sure, and it's great to see, and it's great that we've been able to play well in front of them. They deserve it, and it's been quite a turnaround. Where there was a little bit of a disappointment there early on in the season when we weren't able to play as well as we could and should. But once we've been able to put together some wins and played some great games at home, they've been awesome. They've been supportive, and we appreciate it.
When you were in Columbus, one season your team went on quite a heater in the second half of the season to get to the playoffs and make a little bit of a dent in the postseason. Is there anything you can take from that learning curve and plug it into this learning curve that you've been on since the middle of December?
Yeah. I think that you look at all the different things and different experiences you've been through in your career, and you try to learn and put that in your notebook. That okay, maybe this situation looks similar than that, but it's also a different group of players, different situation here, but you always weigh in every decision that what you may have learned previously in something that looked similar, but again, it's a totally different group and totally different needs here. So, but I got good memories from Columbus, so they're all in the back of my head for sure.
As a general manager, are you more aggressive when you're trying to get into the playoffs, chasing that spot, or trying to improve your team to go deeper in the playoffs? Because those are two different standings.
That's a hard question. I don't know if there's I would say generally that you'd probably be more aggressive when you think that you just got to get over a little hump, and then you could have a really good chance of winning the cup. Having said that, I think every team that gets into the playoffs in this league has a chance to win the championship. We've seen it before when the 16th team in the regular seasons won the cup, and so you have to get in first, and then you can make a run at it. But it all depends on the group that you have too, and the needs are, and sometimes if there's a certain need that you can see clearly that your team has, you have to be aggressive in order to get it.
You've always been aggressive, though, Jarmo. You've never shied away from scenarios of thinking, even keeping a player in the short term over a trade deadline, like you did with Artemi Panarin. You've never been shy. You're not saying you're starting to be shy now, are you?
No. I think we're in it to try to win it. So that's going to be the philosophy. And I've been on the other side of it too, where you kind of sad when you see the potential draft picks go, and you're scouting all year, and all of a sudden you're looking at the draft saying, we got no draft picks here. Well, how am I supposed to do my job here? So I feel bad for the scouts when that happens, because I've been in their shoes. But as an organization, we all have to understand that our goal is to win the Stanley Cup and help the team in Buffalo any way we can.
What was your experience like in Italy?
It was awesome. It was my second Olympics. I had been in Sochi with Team Finland 12 years ago, and I've always said that that's one of the best hockey experiences I've had in my life. We won bronze there too. And to do it again in Milan was awesome. The hockey was great. Probably the best advertising marketing that you can get for hockey in the NHL. So fast, so intense. And I think the people that hadn't seen that live, it's always, no matter how much you tell them that how fast the hockey is, they don't believe it until they see it from row 7 or from row 8 and watch it live. And then they're like, oh my God, this is so fast and entertaining. And that's exactly what it was. And when it's best on best, playing against each other, it's fun to see. And it was a great experience.
I've got to ask you, there's a closer connection to the Americans for you than most people of that play on the international or work on the international hockey world, and that was Johnny Gaudreau. What did it mean to you when you saw those Americans skate around with Gaudreau's sweater on the ice in Milan?
It's still kind of emotional. Where it's, I've said this many times before, but I still kind of can't even believe that happened. I'll remember that phone call from John Davidson late at night. I was wondering why the hell he's calling me at this time, and the call came, and I wasn't working for the Blue Jackets at the time, but it was something that I'll never forget. The phone call when he told me what had happened, and it's such a tragedy. It's words can't even describe the feelings that went through my head that moment, and for them and their families and everybody involved. It's such a heartbreaking thing to happen to two young men like that. And for them to get the tribute again in the Olympics was heartwarming, and just goes to show you what kind of effect he had on people around him, and people will always remember him, not just for the hockey player that he was, but also the type of teammate he was, the person he was, and he was just fun to be around. He loved hockey and everything about it, and he had great passion for it. So that's why he'll be remembered forever.
What did you take away from the Four Nations, and how much of an advantage was the Four Nations experience going into the Olympics compared to the teams that maybe didn't get a chance to do that?
Well, I think it's, you talked about measuring yourself against the opponents. I think that's what you got to do. U.S. and Canada had a little bit of a different game that you could have in the Olympics, obviously, and that was something else too, watching that in the first 9 seconds of that game. And that was probably the best marketing for the NHL as well. I've never seen TV footage like that in the U.S. for NHL hockey and hockey in general than those 9 seconds got. But and U.S. came out in that game showing that, hey, we can play any way you want. You try to push us around, we'll push back, and I think that was a big part of the sort of how they went into this year's tournament as well. Even though in the Olympics that was not possible to play a game like that, but. Yeah, we didn't do very well in the Team Finland in the Four Nations, and we got a little humble pie there, and coming back for the Olympics said that, okay, we got to do a little reset here and rethink some things, and obviously the loss of Barkov for us was huge and unfortunate, but we battled hard every game and gave Canada a little scare in the semifinal, but I think the two best teams played in the final deservingly, but we won the last game, the bronze medal game, and the boys didn't go home empty-handed, so it was great.
Let me ask you, from your vantage point, were you yelling at the coach to do the coach's review on either goal against Canada?
Well, we kind of looked at it. We were sitting next to the video coaches there with Jere Lehtinen, and we looked at that the defenseman pushed Marchand over the goaltender, so we didn't feel that was worth challenging, and that's the video coaches make that call with the head coach. But I didn't think that we'd win that challenge. Obviously, we had to challenge the offside. Because of where the game was at and how much was left and how close it was. And I still think it was offside, but we just didn't get the frame where you could show that it was. But that's history now, and they won the game and they went to the final.
Before we let you go, I want your path to where you are now is a fascinating one. We always take advantage and talk to people who are firsts. The fact that you are the first European-born general manager in the National Hockey League, we're the first one, must be special to you. And do you now view yourself as a European as a general manager in the NHL, or are you just one of 32?
I really don't think about it that much, to be honest with you. Even from the start, I just I worked in the NHL since 1995. Went to Finland for a couple of years in between there to be a GM in the Finnish league, and then got the job. And I heard all about being the first European general manager and this and that, but I really don't think about it that much, to be honest with you. I just want to be a good general manager and a successful general manager rather than the European general manager or first European, whatever it is. So I guess when you do think about it, it makes you feel proud, but I really don't think about it. Right now, I've been here for almost half of my life in North America, and probably will be for the rest of my life, because my daughters were born here. They go to college here, and they're going to live here most likely for the rest of their lives. So me and my wife were not thinking about moving back to Finland, and I got my college degree in the U.S. or one of them anyway, and so I'm happy to live here and pay my taxes here, and I just want to be a good general manager, one of the 32, and trying to compete hard to be one of the best. That's all.
Who was your mentor? Like, when you look back through your career, wherever it was, particularly on this side of the Atlantic, who do you say that got you on the right track?
I think I was fortunate to have a lot of good mentors. That's what I always say. I started out. Ray Shiro hired me in Ottawa. Rest in peace. A good friend of mine, and we had a really good relationship as a friendship for a long time. And he was assistant general manager in Ottawa when they hired me, and he was a big part of it. And Randy Sexton was the GM at the time, and I had Rick Dudley as a GM. I had Marshall Johnston is the guy that really showed me what scouting and player evaluation is all about. He was so organized and good at it. And then I went to St. Louis. I had Larry Plow as a general manager there. Who was a great man. John Davidson joined in 2006, and another great man that I learned a lot from. And, I was really fortunate always to work with people that believed in me and let me do my job, and also showed me what leadership was all about, and what hockey is all about. And so I've been very fortunate that way.
Last one. Do you need more patience as a general manager or as a girl dad?
As a girl dad, for sure. I think I'm pretty patient, and sometimes I think it's easier to get impatient with the young ladies, especially. But my wife takes good care of that part, and a lot of times I've said that, especially when they were teenagers, there were things that we were dealing with that I just delegated very quickly to my wife. That, okay, you can take care of this part, and I'll join in later.
Jarmo, Daren's a girl dad too, so he's looking for advice.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Two teenagers right now.
Yeah, we need a lot of advice on that in that area. That's for sure. I'll take any advice that you have. You can call me after.
Perfect. Thanks, Jarmo. Congratulations and best of luck as you try to lock this thing down.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
With the NHL app, you can listen to every NHL game right from your phone. And with home and away broadcast feeds, you choose your way to listen.
And he scores!
Whether you're at work, at the gym, or stuck in traffic, the NHL app puts you right in the action all season long. Every team, every game, everywhere you go. Download the NHL app and never miss a moment.
So did he just hit it right, the timing of it? Or what do you think the impact of Jarmo Kekalainen has been this year?
That's a great question because, the Sabres had gone on a Western road swing and won the first and lost the first game, but then won 3 in a row. And then came back from Seattle, and Kevin Adams was relieved of his duties for Jarmo to be there. But I think there's two things. I was in Buffalo earlier in the year, and I know Jarmo well enough to ask him how things are going and how does he manage the commute between Columbus and Buffalo as a senior advisor. It's about a 3.5, 4-hour drive. And he said, "No, I'm doing fine. It's good. Terry gave me his condo to live in downtown, so which is Terry Pagula." And at that moment, it occurred to me saying, "Oh, something's going to happen. This is when the owner is giving you his condo to live in while you're between cities." Obviously, the owner has a great deal of respect for what Jarmo brought to the table as a senior consultant. But to me, that was kind of a
writing on the wall,
a subtle message that we have the heir apparent here if and when things had to happen. Kevin Adams obviously built a great foundation of young people, young players. Their group in Rochester has been successful. But unfortunately, I think Kevin was a victim of time. It was just time. 8 or 9 years as the manager is a long time, particularly in that period of time you don't make the playoffs. And
you're seeing the greatness of his work right now.
Right now, oh yeah, no question, no question.
But it happens with him on the outside looking in,
right? Yeah, and well, Jarmo went through it himself because Jarmo was a big part of what they did in St. Louis prior to 2019. Jarmo and John Davidson built a lot of the foundation in St. Louis for the Blues. After they were relieved of their duties, the Blues went on to win the Stanley Cup. So it has happened. I think that's part of the what did Jarmo call it? The hamster wheel. It's part of the hamster wheel that exists. Is that you build something and then it's no longer yours, and then you build something else and you get a chance, and hopefully you get a chance to win with it. So that's a reality of professional sports, and that's a reality what goes on for a manager and a senior group in the NHL.
Most important thing about a hamster wheel, you know what it is?
I don't want to know.
You got to get a quiet one.
So the girls had hamsters, did they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we never
got 2
allowed
guinea pigs right now, too.
We never allowed hamsters. No.
The situation...
We had a lizard, but we didn't allow a hamster.
Yeah. Fish, lizard.
Howard the lizard.
Dogs, cats. But they stay inside with the coaching staff. How surprised were you?
I think there's a pragmatic aspect to that. Hockey budgets go from July 1st to June 30th. If Kenny's forced to make a change, he would go to Luc Robitaille, he would go to Dan Beckerman, he would go to people inside Anschutz Entertainment Group and say, gosh, you know what, we're not clicking, particularly after the loss to the Oilers, which was embarrassing. We got to make a change. The fans are chanting Hiller's got to be fired. But at the same time, there are budgets, and people have to work within budgets. And so, okay, we got to make a change. Who's available quickly? Because that's the other thing. Again, this darn schedule. You and I have been through coaches being dismissed a lot, Daren. And you say, well, it makes sense. They got 4 days off. And you can get a coach in there, get a couple of practices. Well, that doesn't exist.
They just had 2.5 weeks, John.
Yeah, I know, but I was getting to that. Kenny is not one of those guys that likes to make changes in season. He doesn't. He tries to talk to the coach. He tries to work through it. But it just got intolerable very quickly with the way they played back-to-back nights. One against Vegas, one against Edmonton. They lost 5 goals in the third period against the Henderson Silver Knights, Daren. You watched the game.
Pavel Dorofeev scored a couple of goals in that game.
My point is
I know
5
they
regulars out of the lineup
regulars,
coming back from the Olympics, and LA should have won that game. And then the next night, I mean, back to back at home. So I think that there are practical reasons that you try not to jump to any long-term solutions. I mean, is that, everybody's going to say, well, they should have hired Pete DeBoer. Well, you know what? I'm not sure that they got permission to spend that type of money on Pete DeBoer. Pete DeBoer is going to be in a really good position in the summertime.
That was my thing. I wonder if they talked to him and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So we can ask him on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's going to join the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, good. He went over to Rome after Milano.
Why? If you say Milano, why don't you say Roma?
Roma. He went over to Roma after Milano.
Okay, because you either go to Milan and Rome or Milano and Roma.
I like Roma.
I'm sure you do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you do. So.
Hang out with it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Oh.
That was a compliment.
No, I don't.
It was.
It was.
Why do you take that as negative? Like, it's one of the great cities of the world.
How many times have you been in Rome?
16.
You have not been 16 times.
I basically live there.
They say, "Oh, this is because you're visiting your brother."
It wasn't built in a day.
Oh my God. Oh, so.
A few different things that I could go down that path. That was fun today. Interesting stuff going on with the trade deadline. We'll continue to track it as we work our way towards Friday. Pete, it'll be the first time that he's just on the sidelines for a trade deadline. I know, so it'll be fun to chat with DeBoer.
We need, it's one of those ones that it's tough to do a podcast on the day and expect people to listen to it because everybody's got to be current. So what you have to do, in my opinion, is create complementary programming. What does a coach go through on trade deadline day? How do they manage situations? Then we can ask them about going to Rome. Mm-hmm. So, but we'll flesh out more of the trade deadline on Wednesday. So
you deserve every compliment you get, my friend. There's John Shannon on 100%.
Hey, I'm going to go to Buffalo and watch your team tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of a back-to-back for Vegas.
Yeah, in
Buffalo
Detroit.
And then Detroit.
Detroit, yeah. Maybe somebody will buy me lunch.
Do you want me to work on people?
Yeah.
Say John Shannon's in town, somebody buy him lunch. They're all getting per diem, all my friends over there. They're all getting per diem, so they should be able to open their wallets a little bit, unless they're putting the per diem in their pocket and
hoping that I buy
meal.
And hoping I buy.
Yeah. Where would you take them?
I would take them to Chef's. Okay. Great Italian restaurant just down from the arena. Chef's. It's one of the best.
All right.
Usually it's open on Tuesday. Not open on Mondays. So last time I was in Buffalo, Lindy sent us all to Chef's on a Monday. Closed.
Knowing that it was closed?
Closed.
Love I think from Lindy.
He knew too. He knew.
Yeah. Guarantee he knew. I'll have even more respect for
Jody
him.
Shelley was not happy because he was salivating. At having a Chef's, chicken parm,
100% hockey. Dive in, eat with us. Another helping coming up Wednesday, and then dessert on Friday with the trade deadline happening with Millard and Shannon.